Hi everyone, welcome to this video on CBC interpretation. CBC stands for complete blood count. It's the most common lab test you're going to see in clinical practice, and it gives us very important information about the patient's blood cells. So in this video, we're going to break it down. So you've already learned that blood is made up of plasma, which is the non-cellular content of blood, and blood cells, which are the red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. And so the first point here is that CBC only measures these blood cells. It tells you nothing about the plasma portion of blood. So when you get a CBC, the results will tell you how much red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets a person has in their blood. So let's talk about these blood cells. Remember that they're not actually made in the blood, they're made in the bone marrow, and this is called hematopoiesis. So here we have generation of the red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets, and once they're ready, they're going to exit the bone marrow and jump in the circulation pool, and so we can obtain a sample of peripheral blood, run a CBC, and see how many of these cells we have. And as I said before, the CBC tells us the quantity of each cell, so how much we have, and the reason we care is that too many or too few of each of these cell types is associated with its own clinical findings. So let's learn that now. Alright, so I feel like the red blood cells and white blood cells always take the glory. So let's start with platelets and give them their shine first. So platelets are also called thrombocytes, and that's because their main job is to help us with clot formation. And you may remember that in primary hemostasis, we make the platelet plug, and then in secondary hemostasis, we reinforce it with fibrin mesh. So the bottom line is that you need the platelets to form the plug that seals the injured vessels. So platelets are essential because they help keep us from bleeding out. Now in a CBC, the normal range of platelets in adults is 150 to 400,000 cells per millimeter cubed. So here's an example of a CBC right here. The platelet count is highlighted. You can see that it's 275,000, so it's within the normal range, so all is good here. Now if the value was too high, so we would have too many platelets, this would be called thrombocytosis, and this could cause excessive thrombosis, so the patient would be at increased risk of thrombotic diseases like myocardial infarction or ischemic stroke. On the other hand, if the platelet count is too low, this is called thrombocytopenia, and this would impair normal hemostasis, so the clinical findings would be excessive bruising, for example, petechia in the skin, and possibly even life-threatening hemorrhage. Alright, so let's move on to the red blood cells, also known as erythrocytes. The function of these red blood cells is to deliver oxygen to tissues, so their main content is going to be hemoglobin. And so when it comes to red blood cells, we measure three things on a CBC. Number one, the red blood cell count, so how many red blood cells we have. Number two, the hemoglobin concentration, which is in grams per deciliter. So this is the total hemoglobin concentration from all the red blood cells that are circulating in blood. And then number three is the hematocrit, which is the ratio of the volume of the red blood cells over the total volume of blood. So basically how much of the blood volume is made up of red blood cells. And clinically, the two parameters we care most about are the hemoglobin and the hematocrit. We don't really care too much about the number of red blood cells. What we care about is how much hemoglobin we have, because that's the main functional part of the red blood cells. And the values that reflect that are the hemoglobin and the hematocrit, and they're always going to track together. Now the normal ranges are provided here, and you can see that the values are slightly higher in males than females, and this is due to menses as well as the differences in sex hormones. So now let's talk about when the values are abnormal. So if the hemoglobin and hematocrit are too low, this means we have a decrease in circulating red blood cell mass, and this is the literal definition of anemia, less red blood cell mass circulating around in blood. And the symptoms here are going to be tissue hypoxia, so things like dizziness, weakness, shortness of breath, and headache. And on the other hand, if the hemoglobin and hematocrit is too high, this is called polycythemia. And the problem here is that the blood can get sticky with too many red blood cells flowing around in it, and it can cause thrombosis, and we'll cover this in a separate module. Now, one final thing about hemoglobin and hematocrit is that since they both depend on the volume of plasma as the denominator, you can get false high or false low values. So for example, if the plasma volume decreases significantly, such as in dehydration, you can get an increase in the hemoglobin and hematocrit as a result of hemoconcentration. And the opposite can happen if the plasma volume increases a lot, like in pregnancy. This can dilute the red blood cell mass, and so the hemoglobin and hematocrit will be low, even though there's no problem with synthesizing red blood cells. But this is rare, and almost always when you see a low hemoglobin and hematocrit, that patient has anemia. Now when it comes to the red blood cells, the CBC also gives us additional information. This is called the red blood cell indices, and the two most important ones are the MCV and the RDW, so let's go through them. MCV is the most important one by far. It stands for the mean corpuscular volume, and what it actually means is the average volume or size of the red blood cells inside a person, and the normal range is between 80 to 100 femtoliters. So looking at our CBC right here, this person has an MCV of 85, which is in the normal range. That means that on average, their red blood cell volume is 85 femtoliters. So if we pretend like this is their blood sample, we have some red blood cells whose size is 90 femtoliters. You have others whose size is in the 70s, and then others in the 80s. And when we get all of these and average them all up, the value in this case becomes 85. So this is the mean or average red blood cell volume, and it tells us generally how big our red blood cells are on average. And the reason this is super important is because in a patient with anemia, we use a diagnostic algorithm that actually relies on the MCV to help us figure out what causes the anemia. So MCV is a very important test in a patient with anemia, and we'll talk about it much more in the anemia videos. The other important test is the RDW, and this stands for the RBC distribution width. And what this tells us is how much do the red blood cell sizes vary compared to this average size or MCV. So in our person right here with the MCV of 85, you saw that not every single red blood cell has a volume of 85. There's variation between them, and the RDW measures how much variation there is among all these different red blood cells. And this can be a helpful clue in a patient with anemia because the RDW is typically high when the anemia is due to iron deficiency. All right, so let's end with the white blood cells, otherwise known as the leukocytes. So these are the cells of our immune system, and their main job is to protect us against pathogens, but they're also responsible for causing inflammation, allergies, and also responding to injury or stress to the body. So now let's talk about what the numbers are going to look like on a CBC. So the normal range is 4,500 to 11,000 cells per millimeter cube in adults. Looking at our patient's CBC, we see that the white count is 8.5, so it's normal. Now, if the white count is high, so greater than 11, this is known as leukocytosis, and this is commonly caused by infection, but it can also be due to other inflammatory processes or even just response of the body to a stressful event or injury. Now, if the white count is super high, like greater than 50,000 or 100,000, this is not infection or inflammation. Now you should be thinking about white blood cell neoplasias like blood cancers, such as forms of leukemia. Now, on the other hand, if the white count is less than normal, this is called leukopenia, and there are a few different causes like chemotherapy, bone marrow disorders, or even some infections that can stunt the bone marrow. And the main issue here is that less white blood cells means less ability to fight off pathogens, so this makes the patient more susceptible to serious infections. So everything you learned so far is in a regular CBC, but you can also get a CBC with differential. So here, in addition to everything we got in that normal CBC, we also get a breakdown of the different WBC types. And this is helpful because each different type of white blood cell has a different role in the immune system. So sometimes it can be helpful clinically to find out the values for each type. For example, if we have an acute inflammation caused by a bacterial infection, we expect a neutrophilia or a high neutrophil count, whereas if we have a parasitic infection, we would expect eosinophilia or a high eosinophil count. So here's our CBC again that we've been using. Our WBC count is normal at 8.5, but now down here I've added the differential, so you can see we have a breakdown of the different types of the WBCs. These may be reported in total number of each cell type, or as in this case, as a percentage of the total WBCs, so you just have to do the math. Either way, you would have the reference range, and everything in this particular case is normal. There's two things that are really important I want to emphasize. Number one is something called bands. These are immature neutrophils that are released from the bone marrow, and normally these immature neutrophils should not be circulating around in the bloodstream at high levels. So if we see high levels of these bands in the blood, which is called bandemia, this tells us that these bands are being prematurely released into blood, and this typically happens in the setting of a very severe infection or sepsis. So high band levels in the blood, even if the total WBC count isn't that high, should raise your alarm to search for a very serious infection. Number two is neutropenia, and clinically the most common cause of this is the side effect of chemotherapy, and this is a major problem because neutrophils are the body's main defense mechanism against extracellular pathogens, which is most bacteria and fungi. So these patients are going to be much more susceptible to serious infections, and in fact there's a clinical term we use called a neutropenic fever, and this is when a patient with neutropenia develops fever, and because their own immune system lacks the neutrophils to fight the infection, these patients typically get admitted to the hospital in an isolation room, and they get put on broad spectrum IV antibiotics, and you're going to learn more about this during the immunology modules. All right, so let's end with the limitations of the CBC. So number one, it mainly just tells us about the number of the blood cells, not their function. So for example, some drugs or diseases disrupt the function of these blood cells without affecting their total number in blood. So a CBC will not help us out with that. And then number two, CBC results are only going to increase or decrease the likelihood of a condition. You have to correlate their results with the rest of the clinical picture. So in other words, just because a patient, for example, has a higher than normal white count, that doesn't mean that they must have a serious infection. And conversely, if a patient's white count is normal, that doesn't fully rule out an infection. You have to take it all into context of the full clinical picture. So remember to treat the patient and not just the number. Okay, that's it and that's all. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Please don't forget to like, comment, and share it with others, and be sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss out on upcoming content. But for now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.